Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, on Saturday, I finally got my next wave of Zombie Sailors toys action figures. It is the Series 4 release of 5 figures, and man, this actually was a series that I was crazy excited about. Now, you guys know I really haven't been too excited about all the releases that ZST has been releasing over the last, I don't know, last couple of years, man, but these are a wave of figures that I've been crazy ecstatic to get in. From the pictures that we've seen of these releases, from the characters, the card backs, the graphics. So I'm pretty amazed. And from start to finish, yes, I've been eager to get these figures in and been dying to make this video for you guys. So I have had the opportunity, obviously, to look at the outskirts of the card packaging, and so far, I'm really hoping that when I actually open up these packages, that the enthusiasm and excitement that I had from the get-go is still there. Because, man, like I said, from the very get-go, I've been in love with this release. This release has been so fantastic, and I really want to be able to open up these figures and still love and be impressed with what they've released. I don't want to be disappointed. And let's start with the first figure and kind of see what we're working with. First one we're looking at is Mike Awesome. So Mike Awesome, I mean, it would have been nice if they actually included a championship belt, kind of like the picture here. He doesn't actually come with the belt, but Mike Awesome, he's kind of a sad story, to be honest. A lot of time when you hear these guys, I mean, you hear guys like, like Chris Benoit, right? And a story that happened with him and his family. I mean, that is just an absolute tragedy. But then you hear the guys that simply just take their own lives. Why? To me, nothing is so bad in life that you can't reach out to someone, family, friends, some kind of emergency support phone, support system, make a phone call to somebody, talk to somebody. And with the amount of locker room support that he had, I'm pretty sure there was someone that he worked with, like I said, in the locker room that he could reach out to. And like I said, when I say this is a sad story, he was a young man. He was what, early 40s, 41, 42, somewhere around that range when he died. I think he died like early 2000s. I want to say 2006-ish, 2007, something like that. So, I mean, this wasn't someone that, who lived a full-on life. So, very disappointing to kind of, hear what happened to him. And, wrestlers in general, they don't live a long life. A lot of guys, they die of like drug overdoses, or they die of heart attacks, whether it's from exertion, excessive beatings that they take in the ring, or from said drug use, steroid use, etc., alcohol abuse, whatnot. But when they hang themselves, shoot themselves, what have you, they die in car accidents, things of that nature. Car wrecks, unintentional, that can't be helped. That's a fluke accident, but very, very sad. I'm glad that, Zombie Sailors were able to work with the family and kind of, get a special memoriam figure for him. So that's pretty awesome. So these figures, I did get 2 batches, but I didn't pull out the second batch. I already hung them up. So I am going to go ahead and open up these figures for you guys. Kind of looking at the outside skirts of these figures. Like I said, the actual card backings are pretty impressive. I've noticed this on a few figures. I've noticed this on like Bad News Brown. I've noticed this on Mike Awesome. even the Tajiri figure, I don't know why. I'm hoping that it's just the bubble itself, but the feet. The feet of these figures look so awkward. And again, I'm hoping it's just the bubble. But when I open these figures, trying to find a good spot so I'm not damaging these bubbles. Hopefully I'm not. You see, I hate this. Zombie toys, or Zombie Sailors, and Grapples and Gimmicks, they put so much glue on these figures that when you see this, man, this is a beautiful box opener, right? And you're very pristine when you get under these bubbles. But when you open up, they put so much glue on it that you're already destroying the card backs. And I hate that. I don't want to destroy these bubbles, or destroy these cards, but they're already ruined. So this card is already destroyed. Worthless. Thank you, Zombie Sailors. Okay, so maybe it really was just the bubble. The feet, they look okay. But in the bubble, it looked kind of awkward. The hand right off the bat, it is very extremely loose. And I remember when we first got like the first wave of figures from Zombie Sailors, like you could sit there and like with all of your freaking might pull on those figures, and they just feel like the figures could not be broken. There was just so much strength and durability to those figures, and I think that was one of the major highlights of Zombie Sailor toys. One of the key elements of why so many fans gravitated toward those figures, because the quality of the figures were impeccable. But you look at the figures that they've been making over the last couple of years, there is no reason why these digits, why their hands and heads should be so loose the way that they are nowadays. There isn't any removable hands, right? This isn't Mattel Superstars or Elites with removable hands and heads, right? Where you're just picking the hands off and swapping out hands. So why is that loose? Right hand is a little bit loose, but I mean, not as much. But I mean, you could look at it. I mean, it still swivels. That's horrible. This should be super tight. You should not be able to move that at all. And if it does, it should be like really, really thick. You know, really, you should really put a lot of pressure on it. But no, this is terrible. So as far as durability, I mean, I already give it so many points off on that. Head sculpt looks good, I guess. Play pose is fine. Graphically, from a graphical standpoint, it's okay. It will, it's a thin figure, but it's not as bad as like that last figure we looked at with CM Punk. That was such a thin, horrid figure that that was, like I said, that was probably one of Zombie Sailor's worst figures ever. It's a little bit more of a wider figure, so I at least give it credit for that. The hand really destroys this figure. I think that this would have been probably 6, maybe 7 out of 10 for me, but because of the quality overall, it takes a lot of points off. 4 out of 10. Is it worth the $40 you pay on this figure? Not even close. If you are a buyer, wait till these figures go on sale. Wait till you buy them on eBay. Try to win them on auction. See if you get them for like $18 or less. I mean, even at $12, these things are not worth that. Mike Awesome. Zombie Sailors, what are you guys doing? Not for me on that one. Uh, Yoshihiro Tajiri is the next one. So, like Mike Awesome, this is another ECW wrestler. And he's, he's a Japanese professional wrestler. So, from New Japan Pro Wrestling, obviously he was in ECW. In fact, he was actually a tag team champion alongside Eddie Guerrero. So, he had a nice little run with WCW, or excuse me, WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it. I refuse to call them WWE. It'll always be WWF in my eyes. But, I mean, in the early 2000s, 2001, 2008, 2005, I don't know, something like that. It wasn't like a long tenured process, probably about 5, 6, 7 year period. So he had an adequate run in WWF in the 2000s. But, card, like I said, very decent. And like Awesome and Bad News Brown, kind of see the same thing. I think it's just a bubble where it makes it look kind of weird. But his figure, carded. It's got that little hunched over look. I don't know if I like it overall. But let's see how he displays. And yeah, I don't think I'm even going to try to salvage any of these cards because they are all coming off absolutely destroyed. Well, I do like this aspect. Kind of like a little movable belt area. Little tie belt around the waist. Alright, so the hands are actually nice and tight on this figure. But Zombie Sailors, you just cannot catch a break. They had... How is the waist on this one? I mean, it's movable, but the waist is at least somewhat tight, at least. Hands are horrible on this figure. The waist is loose, but not like crazy, severely loose. Hands are extremely nice and tight on this figure, but the waist is so extremely loose on this. So, are they on here? They're not. I forget the name of the last tag team that Zombie Sailors just released. Dang, what were their names? The last 2-pack they released. I forgot the tag team that they released. Public Enemy. Was that the tag team? I bought Public Enemy because 2-packs. I wanted to get them, and they're not on here, but Legion of Doom. I might pick up Legion of Doom because it's Legion of Doom, and I'm a fan of Legion of Doom. And I might get Danhausen just because the Danhausen figure up here. I don't know if I even want to get the Danhausen. And even Legion of Doom, I'm thinking the same thing. I might just wait and buy it from like eBay and get it for a reduced cost because I think this is it. I think that Public Enemy that I bought, I think that's it. These figures are, every time I'm doing a review on these guys, I get more and more frustrated. That's it. No, I've made it my decision. I am officially done with Zombie Sailors because I was really, really looking forward to Zombie Sailors, to this series. I was crazy excited, guys. And just kind of reviewing these figures, man, I'm sorry. For those fans who are crazy obsessed with this toy line, I was right there with you guys. I was so excited, but this just is not good. This is not good quality. Lead time is horrible, but I was willing to adhere to the lead time because you know what, you're used to it by now, right? Prices, everybody's putting out the same price tag on these figures. So it is what it is. I always say a good figure is a good figure. As long as you put out a good quality figure, I am okay with everything else that surrounds it. But these are just not there. And Tajiri, I mean, this would have been fine. I think overall this would have been a decent figure. I mean, a little bit thin, but not crazy thin. Playability fine, awesome look. But the waist absolutely destroys the figure. Alright, let's pray that these last 3 figures... You know, let's skip this one. I want to move on to this one, because this one is actually one I'm really hoping is a salvageable one. Bad News Brown or Bad News Allen. So I actually did get from Stephen Watson, one of the UK sellers, Steve B19 on eBay, that really awesome Bad News Brown Hasbro custom, right? And that has to be one of the best friggin' customs out there. And I think it was just a Jim Duggan type of custom, but everything about that figure doesn't tell you Jim Duggan. It tells you just like as if Hasbro actually made that particular figure as Bad News Brown, right? And that's why I love buying, you know, Steve B19 Hasbro customs, because they don't look like your run-of-the-mill customs. They look like they actually came from Hasbro directly back in the day. I'm looking at this, and it looks extremely thin. At least back in the day, when you look at the pictures, it looked like it was a normal-sized figure. But having it in hand, it looks like CM Punk. It looks extremely thin. Same thing with the Ric Flair. So right off the bat, in package, I'm not like overly excited, but I'm hoping in hand, it's going to be a little bit better. All right, come on. Come on, Bad News. Salvage something for me. Of course. Yeah. Normal. You guys know, man. I always buy 2 sets, right? And I always try to save these cards. Like every time I buy the second set, the second cards, I wrap them up, I box them up, I save them. I don't throw these away. But with these destroyed backs, there's no point of saving them. They're garbage. But all right. Yeah, it's again a weak waist. Weak waist. Arms are adequate. Wrists are, well, the left wrist is adequately weak, but I mean, it's not horrible. So at least among the 3 figures, this seems to be as far as weakness goes, this seems to be the strongest of the 3. I still, in comparison to the custom I bought from Stephen Watson, I mean, that custom is literally 10,000 times better. And you know what? I am actually going to bring out that custom as a comparison. Original brick and mortar figure. Custom figure. Now tell me you would rather have this more than this. This is a custom, okay? Stephen Watson. It literally looks like it came directly from Hasbro. This is a perfect custom figure. Fits in beautifully with the original Hasbro line. And then you look at this, super freaking thin. Again, another CM Punk type figure. I was so excited to get a Bad News Brown figure. Like, oh my god, this was like one of my must-have characters. Mind blown when I found out that, Bad News Brown was being added to the roster. So grateful to Zombie Sailors for being able to add this character to the roster. But it's a bad figure. I miss the days of Zombie Sailor reviews when every single time I was doing a review, I was so pleased. Like, everything was just golden to me. But I stopped being a blind loyalist and and stop being appreciative just because it was a new toy line and I was just excited to have something different to collect, right? And just started really paying attention to the overall quality of the figures. And once I started really appreciating the true value of the figures instead of being a blind loyalist, I'm able to give more basic and realistic reviews of my figures. And that's why the reviews of these videos have obviously seen a deep depletion or deep depreciation in overall quality of the reviews. So, and I think a lot of the time when you see the Zombie Sailor reviews, why you also see a substantial drop in subscribers, because a lot of people are Zombie Sailor loyalists and they want to see this glowing review of Zombie Sailor toys, and I just can't do it. I can't give them this big Homer, I love you so much Zombie Sailors review when their quality of their figures are just terrible. And for the amount of time that they make you wait for their figures, for the sort of customer service that they give you, or let's be honest, the no customer service that they give you, the prices that they charge you, and the poor quality of figures, it's just... Well, like I said, this is basically going to be the last review I do for Zombie Sailors because after this, I'm done. I got that last 2-pack coming, and I think I got like another, the newest release of like Jack Tunney or something, but I'm not doing a review on those. Forget it. It's not going to be worth it. Every time I do another review on these figures, it just makes me more and more angry. I just realized... Bad News Brown, I thought he was still alive. I keep watching like all of these old podcasts, right? These interviews. No, he's been gone a long time. I think he died in like 2007, I think. 2006, 2007. Well, no, 2025. No, he wouldn't have been alive that long. But no, I didn't realize he was gone that long. I thought he was probably maybe the 2000 teens or something. But, I mean, he was about 62 or something when he died. I mean, he lived a okay long life, but, like, you would have loved to have seen him live into his late 70s, 80s, or something like that. But he was, like, 60, 61, 62 years old. I think he had a heart attack, and that sucked. But, Canada Stampede Wrestling... I think he probably studied and trained along with the Heart Foundation, with the Heart, so that's pretty awesome. Never had any major success in WWF. I mean, I like hearing this man do interviews. He's kind of like me. I just want to come in, do my job, get paid. I don't care about having any of this flashiness and all these accolades and all that. I just want to get in, do my job, get paid, support my family. I'm good. I don't care about winning all these titles and getting all these awards and getting all these promotions and stuff. Forget it. Just give me my paycheck. Let me earn enough to support my family. I'm covered. I'm good to go. Alrighty. Next up, Nature Boy Ric Flair. So, another one, you see the pictures of Ric Flair, and you're like, oh my god, that is spectacular. Absolutely love it. 92, WrestleMania 8, Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage. Obviously, with the heavyweight title on the line. I mean, WrestleMania 2 basically had two main, or WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 8 had two major events as their highlight matches, with Sid Vicious or Sid Justice going up against Hogan, and of course Randy Savage against Ric Flair. I think Hogan versus Justice wasn't given enough credit, but to me, I kind of feel like that was a great match. And everybody always credited, like, Hogan having this finisher that was so protected that nobody could ever kick out of it. But of course, Papa Shango was late getting into the match, and of course, Sid Justice had to jump out of the leg drop. And they were Sid Justice was disqualified, and Hulk Hogan won. And of course, Ultimate Warrior returned during that match, which was pretty awesome. But Ric Flair, look at this figure. You see the picture, and the picture looked amazing, right? And you think, okay, that is going to be such an incredible figure. You are absolutely going to love it. But then you get the actual package in hand. I'm like, dude, I swear to God, I am going to scream. All right, I'm not going to scream, but I am going to judge you very harshly. To any viewer or commenter, okay, that's going a little rough. No, it's not. I'm going to judge you harshly. To anybody that says that Ric Flair Hasbro is a very bad figure, but says that this is a good figure, I am going to judge you very harshly. Nah, but seriously, guys, the Hasbro Ric Flair and this Ric Flair are roughly the exact same figure. Matthew, you are blind as fudge. They are both extremely thin figures, and that was the huge downside with the Ric Flair Series 6 Hasbro, right? Stupid arm punching figure. The super thinness of the figure. Yeah, the legs are completely different. The bottom, I got it. But I'm not talking about play pose and all that. I'm talking about the thinness of the figure. So, the overall look, I love the head. Okay, that right there, I mean, light years better. Not even gonna judge, not even gonna complain. They nailed the hell out of that head mold. That is unbelievable. Play pose is okay. I mean, like I said, I hate this. I hate the extended arms. Like, every time I do a review of Zombie Sailors, I see those extended arms. It drives me nuts. Can't they just shrink the arm from like this length to like bring the tip of the fingers down to like here? Like just like centimeters, a matter of like an inch or two, like something. I mean, just shrink it just a bit. But they make these arms so freaking long, and it drives me nuts. But the figure is just so thin. Why do they make these bodies so tiny? The waist. This could have been a potential 10 out of 10 figure if it was just a little bit wider. Mattel Retros, I will still say that so far, that is probably still the best Ric Flair version among the Hasbro style figures. Now, yes, Mattel Retros, they still make their figures way too bulky, way too wide. So not the best, girth in comparison to Hasbro's, but I mean, from a playable standpoint, even with the right arm the way it is, this is still a overall solid piece. And I'm over here throwing this stuff around. You know, when I think back on the WrestleMania 8 tape, and you know that scene where freaking Ric Flair grabs Elizabeth and makes out with her, basically. I'm like, how the heck, with Randy Savage and all of his jealousy, was he allowing that to happen? Like, how the heck were you allowing another man to put his lips anywhere near your wife's lips, body at all? That, I mean, staged or not, you know what, that right there, I'm surprised he didn't freak out and like literally go off script and beat the living snot out of him for that. Arms are tight, waist seems tight, yes. So far, Ric Flair, if it wasn't for the waist, everything else is nice and tight on this figure. This is actually probably the best one by a landslide. Last figure, Abdullah the Butcher. Now, I've talked about Abdullah the Butcher on my channel forever, and all of my Abdullah the Butcher figures are my custom LJNs. And I like the fact that this one did come with the fork. And did I drop the fork? Nope, there it is. So it does come with a little tiny fork accessory. Please, Abdullah, be a good figure. I really want to love this one. Alright, arms. Nice and tight, thank you. Hands, they twist. It's okay, I guess. The waist. Why does this... God, why? Twistable body, twistable hands, of course. Feet is solid, but elf shoes. Play pose is solid. His folds is all incredible. Of course, every time he takes the fork or a knife or something, you know, he slices his forehead. So they got even those scars up there. This is... And you know me, man. I freaking love any of the big bulky figures. Giant haystacks from Cella Toys. Even the one-man gang from Zombie Sailors. Right? Yokozuna from Hasbro. Mabel from Grapplers and Gimmicks. So this could technically be on a list here, along with One Man Gang for Zombie Sailors. Maybe they do have another big bulky figure that could technically be on my list of top 10, top 15 favorites. He does have a solid play pose, awesome freaking look, name recognition. I mean, this is a great figure. Now, does the fork actually stay in his hand? Looks like it does fit naturally, nice and tight, so that is beautiful. You know, I was surprised to learn that Abdullah Butcher at like 84 years old is still alive. How the heck at like 400 plus pounds is Abdullah Butcher still freaking alive? That is insane. This man has like hepatitis and he's got like these diseases, man. The toll that this man's body has taken in the ring. I mean, this man is like freaking Cactus Jack in the ring, right? You think about what Mick Foley, the sort of toll that his body has taken in the ring. We're talking about going through barbed wire, being beaten with bats and light bulbs, and falling from the ceiling and through tables and through cages and stuff like that, and how much bodily harm he's gone through in his life. Think about the beatings that this man has taken. no, his infamous matches with Bruiser Brody. Okay, going to freaking Puerto Rico and his battles with Bruiser Brody and Carlos Colon. Same thing. Bruiser Brody going to like Japan. You know, he is infamous not only in Canada, where he has had numerous titles. I think Stampede Wrestling, but throughout Calgary and other places, Montreal in Canada, through Puerto Rico, obviously throughout I think he was in Mexico. We always say that he was never in WWF, but he was retired, or he's a Hall of Famer in WWF, but that's not necessarily true. Not completely. I mean, he wasn't necessarily part of WWF, but he did have a few matches under WWF. So technically maybe WCCW. So he wrestled there as well. NWA, of course, obviously AWA. Of course, huge name. Again, I said in Japan. So this man was all over the place. Absolute freaking legend. It's sort of freaking, and of course, anywhere in the indie circuit. The man was a freaking lunatic, though. And I heard recently that, of course, he's like trying to scam his own like fans and stuff. I don't know what he was trying to scam, but I'm like, you had to have earned a lot of money in professional wrestling. And what are you trying to do, scamming your fans? What kind of money, financial, what kind of money do you need nowadays that you need to earn extra income? So that's kind of sad, but... So, Ric Flair and Abdullah the Butcher, I will at least say that these two, your money might actually be worth it for these two figures. Abdullah the Butcher, at least I had a feeling that this one was going to be solid. Ric Flair, yes, I think was a nice pickup. If the arms weren't so poor, or the body, or the arms or hands or the waist weren't so poor on these figures, for about 25 to 50% off, this might have been worth it. Bad News Brown, only because of name recognition, this would be a nice pickup. But the figure, if this was like just some random character that nobody knew about, this would be like a $5 figure, $10 figure at most. This is not a good figure. It's like CM Punk. The CM Punk figure is horrendous. One of the worst that Zombie Sailors has ever put out. I covet this only because he is Bad News Allen. Outside of that name recognition, that is it. It's just an overall bad figure, bad design. Well, not bad design, but it's loose body parts, waist and hands, super thin. I was crazy ecstatic to make this video. I was crazy ecstatic to get this series in. I was absolutely in love with getting this series, but I was really hoping that when I opened these figures up, that the enthusiasm was really going to be there, and opening them up, I was so disappointed. Yeah, I already knew that Zombie Sailors had lost me as a consumer, but they at least had the opportunity to change my mind with this series. Had the potential to potentially bring me back in and potentially at least get me to get the Danhausen figure, maybe the Legion of Doom figure, something. This series basically signified that, nope, I'm completely done. This was a bad batch. This was a bad series. Yeah. So I am going to put it out to my viewers that wait to these figures. Do not pre-order. It's not worth it. These figures are still going to be released regardless. if you think that hey, if 2,500 people purchase these figures and they're only going to produce 2,500 figures, it's BS. How many times have they put out, have these companies said that they're only going to put out this many figures and then they're closing the vault or whatever, and then months later oh yeah, we have another set of figures to release. It's a scam to try to get you to buy more figures or buy figures. That's all it is, right? So if 2,500 people buy these figures and then all of a sudden those same 2,500 people, 2,000 say, you know what, we're not buying anymore, and only 500 people buy them, guess what? They are still going to come out with 2,500 figures or more, and they are still going to be available on their site for later purchase. And guess what? At the end of the year, when those $40 figures, they are going to be available for around $20, $25. You can save yourself some money and get them then. And I am not blowing smoke. I've been buying from this company for 3 years now. I see how they operate. Okay, so I have a general idea of what I'm talking about. That's just all I'm saying. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Sorry about the 40+ minute video, but this will be the last time, I think, for Zombie Sailors. I don't plan on making any more reviews on this company. You know, maybe if the 2-pack comes in, I might, but at this point, why waste my time, right? Why waste your time? It's not worth it. The figures are terrible. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care, everybody.